Hey everyone, it's Ken from Ken's Corner, and I'm excited to be back here in the Leafs fan panel. We're just 2 days away from home opener. It was a long preseason. Every year for me, it's like drag on, drag on, drag on preseason. But anyway, I'm here again with the Leafs fan panel. JT, we'll see you in the future. You got the flu on us. Get yourself better, and we'll have you back here sometime around Christmas. Gord's going to actually join us a little bit into this. He'll be our special guest for today. But I'm going to introduce first. I'm going to introduce Joe. I like to call him my co-accused. He's my co-host from Whistle Radio 102.9 FM or whistlefm.com. This is Joe Moyer. How are you today, Joe?
I'm good, Ken. Good, George, Greg. Great to be here, guys.
And on the top, of course, this is our Leaf fan all the way from Calgary, Alberta. Uh, this Say hi to George. George, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Thanks for having me back on, and I can't wait until regular season. We can start to see the Leafs do what they do.
Yeah, it's going to be an exciting season. Now George, let's just start talking to you a little bit about what I know you're working hard out there in Alberta, so you don't have a lot of time for preseason. So let's talk about what you do know that excites you that's coming up for the Leafs this year. What's on top of your list?
Well, I'm really happy to see Domi on the ice for us, and a couple of new guys that we brought in was Reeves and Domi, and I'm really happy to see them. I'm really happy to see an enforcer and Domi, of course.
Awesome. Joe, we were talking a little bit when we were heading to do our show, I think about a week ago, and we said, do you really think Fraser Minton's going to make this team? Is that even possible? And I don't know. I think we had our question answered by his play. Minton is on the team. And saying that, we got rid of Sam Lafferty. So this is a double question about Sam Lafferty trade and what we got back in that trade, and about Fraser Minton and what it's going to be like for him, even if he only plays 9 games. But apparently he's starting with Matthew Nice. What's your feelings on this? This news that we've been handing us.
Well, first of all, gents, I just want to say, our thoughts go out to what's going on in the world today. This weekend's been a really tough weekend. It's crazy, crazy world, and just what a privilege we are to be here in Canada and have great guys like you to just talk about the Leafs. And if that's the worst of our problems and anxieties, we're doing pretty well. So I just wanted to acknowledge that hopefully JT is on the mend and hopefully Gore joins us. But I'm telling you guys, we're so lucky to be able to just get a bunch of guys together to just talk about our passion, the Leafs. So thank you guys for getting together, and it's an honor to be with you. I'll start with that. Well, you know what? I'm going to give you credit, Ken. You called that a week ago. You said you thought Fraser Minton was going to make the team. Definitely, there's some chemistry there with Matthew Nyes. Let's call it what it is. It's a cost-saving measure. Getting rid of, I think it's 1.5. Ken, you're the expert on the salaries of
Yeah, I believe he was in around a 1.2 million actually, but it's still a
so
cost saver.
so cost saver, and you're getting bare minimum for a young player that definitely played his way onto the team with his preseason. I believe he played 6 preseason games, which is a lot.
He did.
So good on him. Let's see where it goes. I hope he connects. The cynical side of me, you get the new players, they come up like and we've seen that with Nick Robertson and a couple other players. They come out of the gate really well, and then as the season goes on, by 9 or 10 games, you just see that just not quite there yet. But I hope he stays. Really like
Yeah.
him. I like his attitude.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, thank you so much for mentioning what's going on around the world. My son and his fiance had just left Israel for
Oh
Thailand
boy.
about a day before that tragic event in Israel.
Amen. Oh my
So
gosh. Thank God they got out, eh? It's
I'm thankful for that, but I'm
That's
definitely
great.
saddened by the news and the people that passed in Israel.
Well, great news for you, and thoughts are with all those folks and their relatives right now. It's a crazy, crazy time, and you guys have probably been glued to the news as much as I have this weekend. And anyway, the Leafs are a nice little break to have something to look forward to. So
Now, you mentioned Nick Robertson. Now, say Fraser Minton goes his only 9 games, because if he goes past 9 games, how it works is we lose a year in his contract. So that means he gets to free agency a year quicker than what he would if he went back to junior after 9 games. And
Yeah.
we all know he would go back to be the play with his younger brother, and he would also go for play for Team Canada. He would probably have a large role in the Team Canada juniors this year. No, that's not bad things to be going back to the Kamloops Blazers and to Team Canada. But now, who would you think that they've maybe set up to replace him with? Now, I know all our waiver guys actually passed through. Now, bit of a conspiracy theory is that Dubas isn't here, so they're not touching us. So I'm very happy to see Martin Jones hitting
Wow.
down. Yeah, that's really big for us. I believe that might come in play for us this year, given Joseph Wols and Samsonov's injury problems over the last few seasons. George, who would you like to see replace? Now, I could give you a few names that are sitting down at the Marlies level if you want, including Nick Robertson, which I guess I'm kind of steering you towards that. How would you feel if that were to happen? Minton does really well, or do you think if Minton just blows it out of the water, even if you don't know this player very well right now, say he comes and blows it out of the water? Oh, we're going to omit Gord here 1 second. Uh, and he becomes a star player after 9 games. Do we even send him down? George, what's
Well,
your opinion on this?
I've always liked Nick Robertson, and he's always done something from when he came in and played with us. So I've always liked him, and that would probably be the one I would think would be the best. And then and if with Samsonov and Wall having these injuries and having Jones down there, that's great to have a good backup goalie.
Yeah. Gory, welcome to the show. You weren't that long, so we just kind of got going here a few minutes. This last question is about Fraser Minton. You must be excited that this young man has made the team to start with. Do you think he's going to go past this 9 games? And if he isn't, who do you think is going to replace him in that spot?
I think he will go past the 9 games. I think he'll continue to honestly play. Um, Him and Nice together are like Marner and Matthews, to be honest with you. Not being ignorant, but I'm just gonna say it like it is.
It's
The
very
kid's
exciting.
gritty. He's got great hand eye. Him and Nice playing not this last game in Detroit, but the game before that, were spending more time in Detroit's zone than Marner and Matthews were.
Yeah.
The kid's giving it his all, playing hard. I think if he doesn't make it, really and truly, the only person they can bring up is probably Robertson.
Yeah.
That's even going to make remote sense to send him down. But I, again, beginning
And
of the year, the kid's going to be giving it his all.
if
I
that's the
think,
case, I'm sorry to cut you off, but if that's the case, does Nylander go back to center and we bump Tavares down to third line center? Is that something that you might think about would happen?
I think it's not something that's out of the realm. Would it be unusual to put Tavares back as the captain down to your third line center?
Yeah, Joe and I have
Probably,
had that conversation.
probably not. You're probably not going to. Um, Personally and honestly, I think Nylander's better on the wing. Leave him on the wing.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, they had him at center for a couple of games. He was okay. He wasn't dancing all over. They put him on the wing, and all of a sudden he figures out how to score 2 goals in one night. I
yeah,
think you have to let him play his position. I get he was trying to tinker around and see what he could do because of who we lost and whatnot. I've been asked a few times already where Reeves is going to play in the lineup,
yeah.
and I think he's going to play on the third or fourth line,
Mhm.
depending on who they're playing.
Okay. Actually, thank you for bringing up the lines. I'm going to go through all 4 lines and I'm going to assign one line per guy, and you can give your opinions on the guys that are going to be on that line. Joe, we're going to start with you in the number one line. Matthews, Marner, and Bertuzzi. Is this not a slam dunk from right at the start of the year? And what's your feelings on Bertuzzi adding to this line? What do you think he brings?
I'm calling on this to be one of the top lines in the league if they all stay healthy. Listen, you cannot tell me that Bertuzzi's not an upgrade for Michael Bunting. Michael Bunting, like the guy, smaller player, played on the edge. I get it, but Bertuzzi has the skill set, the size, and the smarts. I think that's only going to elevate that line, and I expect him to be one of the top two or three lines going forward for the balance of the season. I just don't see anybody touching them, barring they stay healthy. Bertuzzi's had some injuries, but that's one of the most exciting things I'm looking forward to see. They're only going to get better. They didn't play too much in preseason. The one game I did see, they were clicking a little bit. You could see Bertuzzi has some imagination and knows where to go and where to feed the puck. Probably more than Michael Bunting did. Bunting was more of a crash the net, get a garbage goal. Where I think Bertuzzi's got a skill set where he can see, he can make that pass. So I think it's going to be nothing but nowhere to go but up for that line. They're just going to get better as the season goes on.
Thank you. That's a great opinion. I'm sure I've seen everyone shaking their head yes, so I'm sure everyone agrees with you. But how can we
I got the
disagree
easy
with that
one.
line? You had the easy one. George, I know you're excited for Domi, so I'm going to give you Tavares, Nylander, Domi, your opinions and your excitement behind this line.
Well, I think Domi's a good add to that lineup. He's he's a gritty player, and he'll do good. I really think he'll do good. And he's a goal scorer. He does score a lot of goals, and he can help out that line.
Thank you. Gord, I'm going to ask you, which line would you like to break down? Do you want third with Mr. Minton, or do you want fourth with Reeves? I'm going to give you a choice.
I can go either or. I'll let
Okay.
you pick on.
Do you want me to go with the third line?
Sure,
Okay,
why not?
so actually, no, I want to hear your opinions on Minton again. Minton, Nyes, and Yarncroc, and I actually said it right. I think this time, Joe. We have a joke on the radio. I mess up names all the time, or anything that's hard. I say, Joe, what is his name? So I usually pass it up him. But all right, we're gonna go with the third line with the veteran Yarncroc and our two young guns. What's your excitement behind this line? And you think Minton's going this season. So what is your
I I
predictions behind that?
I think Minton will be here. Nyes is gonna be there. Um,
Tell me you don't want
honestly,
to see Nick Robertson on that line, the kid
I
line, and leave it.
they can't put Nick Robertson on that line. Sorry. If Sheldon Keefe does that, it's going
Kid
to
line,
ruin that
kid line.
third line completely. You can't do that. Yarncrook on that line gives Minton and Nyes the ability to move the puck and get in there. Minton's gritty. He's got the hand eyes the same as Nyes does, but you can't put Robertson on that line. It has to be either Yarncrook or Reeves or somebody that's not somebody that can be a pylon because both Nyes and Minton both like to shoot the puck. I mean, Nyes had multiple shots on goal the other night in Detroit that with Yarncrook there, and Yarncrook stood there, and the goalie couldn't see much. But I think Minton will be here come the season's casting of the 10 games that they have. He will surpass that. I don't think he's going back down. I don't think he's going anywhere. I think he's going to learn like Nyes did. And we've got enough veterans, honestly, on this team that the kid can learn from.
Yeah. And I understand where Joe is coming from because if we do walk away from Yarn Crux contract, which is binding us through another 3 seasons at 2.1, we could get probably a number one defenseman with a fair trade with Yarn Croc in it. We spoke about this before. I'm gonna let you chime in real quick, Joe, because I know you're busting at the guts there.
No, listen, I love Calle Yarncroc. I don't love him at 2.1 million. Haven't seen too much of him. He has lots of games where he disappears. I just want to get excitement again. I mean, when's the last time, guys, before Matthews and Marner, we could be excited about a couple of young players that are going to be our future? It's pretty
Yeah.
cool about Matthew Nyes and Fraser Minton. So I just, a Cinderella story, Easton Cowan or Nick Robertson on that wing. Wouldn't that be something if that could be a line of the future? I
Yeah.
get totally what Gordon's saying. You want some veterans, and absolutely. I was just playing Fantasy Island to see. But I'm not a Yarncrook fan, not a 2.1. I would love to
Yeah.
get us out of that contract and maybe spend that money elsewhere.
Okay.
I think if they could get rid of him for the ability to bring somebody in, I don't see them bringing Cowan up to play in that
No,
position right now.
no.
But can you honestly sit back and think for a second? Matthews, Marner, Nylander, Cowan, Minton, Nyes, and
Yeah.
you've all got everybody under the age of 30, you're looking at it.
Yeah.
What team are you looking at right now in the league that has the abundance of players that can score, can get gritty, are not afraid um, to shoot the puck? That's the main thing this year is they gotta learn to shoot the damn puck. Stop the wheeling and dealing fancy dancy trying to bring it out. I saw it in Detroit. They just grabbed the puck and they moved it up the ice. The whole passing it back and that Kerfoot's gone. So let's move on and move forward from that. Sorry, but he's never going to live that down. I don't care how you spin that, Joe. You can try and word it any way
No,
you want. He passed the puck back, and that led to a goal.
Yeah.
I
you're
get.
preaching to the choir on that one, Gordon. You don't have
I
to sell me.
don't. I've never liked the pass back unless you
Yep.
are going literally to pass it back, so they're going to shoot. Get it behind the net to get off. Move the puck up the ice. Let your
Oh,
guys get in there. And honestly, they've got as much as we may not have as big of a team as we did halfway through the year last year, they've got guys that can hit. And the defense is the main area right now
Yeah.
where I'm
Well, we'll get
still
to that a little bit. I'm going to finish it off and talk about the fourth line because a player that came in that was not on anyone's wire, Noah Gregor, actually made the team from a professional tryout, and he scored 10 goals for San Jose last year. I want to add, and I think he really brings something to that fourth line. And Reeves, like we've all said, if Matthews and Marner get ragdolled, you're looking at Reeves, Domi, and Bertuzzi for sure. And like you said in their defense, we'll get to that in a second. But I actually kind of like this line the way that it's put together with these three players. So that's my it's Camp, Reeves, and Gregor. So that's my opinion. Now we're going to talk about the defense in a whole. Now I don't think any of us could be feeling that Tree Livin is done tinkering with his defense in season. Um, is there anyone out there that you guys want to see come? George, do you have anyone projected that I don't know? Maybe we can get him, maybe not, but just give us a player and let's talk about him a little bit.
well, you were saying we spoke earlier and you were talking about a guy out here in Calgary, a big defenseman out here that is not out of the realm of being traded to. And so he's a big rough defense, and he'd be good on our team.
That's Mr. Nikita Zadorov that George is speaking about. I think that's his name, I believe.
Yeah.
you are correct, Ken. It is
I almost
Zadorov,
thought I got
yes.
his first name wrong there for a second. Joe, your opinion? Gord, I'll let you guys speak it out. Who do you want to see come? Who do you think could make a difference? Do you think we can go the whole season with what we have?
No,
No.
I
unequivocally
agree with
no.
Joe.
No, 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 no. I saw Klingberg in the preseason. Scares me to death. Got beat a couple of times in deep. I know he's just coming back from injury. Didn't get a lot of preseason. Offensively, I think he's going to make a difference in that power play. A little bit more imagination, more confidence. But man, we need somebody to strike fear in the hearts when you're coming over that blue line or crashing into our goalies. I just don't see Giordano or Lilligren or TJ Brody being those guys, or Morgan Riley for that. We need somebody 6'4" or bigger. And we're going to talk about your buddy that got sent to the Marlies too, Simone Benoit.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big boy, but
Well, he cleared
anyway, no,
waivers.
we got to do something. Would I love to see Jacob Chikrin? That'd be my guy, but that ain't
Yeah,
gonna happen.
that's
Right?
not going to happen. He's out there in Ottawa. Gord, have you heard any chatter between your friends maybe down there in Toronto?
The only thing I've really heard is that they are looking at Zadorov as somebody. Um,
What about Jamie Olisiak?
n- Again, that's you took the words right out of my mouth. He was another one. Um, they're trying to find, and I'm not gonna be political about this, but they're trying to find somebody from the West.
Yeah,
Um, because as we've seen over the years, you want to win the cup, you gotta have that big boy,
yeah,
not somebody. As much as I like certain players and I dislike other players, Lilligren ain't gonna cut it. um, Giordano's at the point where he's a great defenseman, but not somebody that's gonna bowl somebody over. Um, Again, that's really the only two players I've really heard of any interest that they've had. But no, I agree with Joe. We cannot go. If they could dump Kelly Yarncrook or somebody else in
package up Nick
package
Robertson.
deal to bring back somebody, that would be of something worthwhile. Take his salary, shove him out the door, and say, "Enjoy your new team."
Yeah,
But
but we'll
right
never
now,
know who's out there until the season really gets underway. Really.
while they've had, based on what was just put out, there was 80 players so far that have cleared waivers across the NHL so far.
Hmm.
So if they're clearing waivers right now without being picked up, there could be a possibility you move a few guys around, do a little fendangling. Treleving's good at dancing. I will say he's good at the multiplayer deals or multi-team deals with multiplayers involved.
Yeah,
You'd have to find that third team that would be willing to
Chicago.
Ch- Chicago. Huh. Now there you go, Chicago. Look who they just took on.
Yeah,
Uh,
Foligno and
uh,
whoever else.
they very much do remind me of Arizona. If you need to get rid of a player, contact Arizona and let them take on the salary. Sorry, I'm just
Or
being honest. I know I
Vancouver.
got you to
Vancouver.
smile there, Joe.
Vancouver took Lafferty for us. George, how do you feel that you were mentioning earlier that the fact that we got a guy named Martin Jones who cleared waivers, it hasn't happened in their near future. I mean, as back far as Harry Sateri, Curtis McElhaney, who else? I don't even know how many goalies have actually not cleared waivers in the Dubas era. But we have a goalie sitting down on the farm that actually won 27 games last year for Seattle. Does this a comforting feeling going into the season that we have three possibly pretty good goalies?
Oh yeah, it's a really comforting feeling to have somebody that like I'm not a big I mean Samsonov is there, he's there at one point and then he's not there and he does, he can get hurt. And I like, Jones, I like having another goalie down there that has been around and has played as much as he has and is able to step into the spot.
That's awesome. Okay, we're getting to the end here. I haven't got a time limit yet, so we're still above 10 minutes somehow. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to ask two more questions. We're going to predict our score for this Wednesday's game, Toronto against Montreal, or Montreal at Scotiabank Arena. But I just want to go around the table here. This is something that I read in the news earlier, and it kind of intrigued me to ask this question. Now, Do you feel that if Toronto doesn't make it to the Final Four of the Eastern Conference, that it's been a failed season? So that means we have to win 2 rounds. George, do you think we have to make it there, or do you think we have to make it to the Stanley Cup? Like, how do you feel about that?
Well, I think we're gonna go. I think we're gonna go really far this year, better than the previous years. With the people we've added, I think we're gonna do really good. And I don't think it would be a fail if we don't make it to the Stanley Cup. I think I think that adding these people, getting us to as far as say just before the Stanley Cup, we've that means we've done better than last year, better than the years before, right?
Yeah. Joe, what's your feelings on that article?
George, I hope you're right. The goaltending scares the crap out of me right now. Not a believer that Samsonov can be that guy to take us. So we're gonna have to see about that. But I think a long, deep playoff run is not out of the question. I think that's success. Do I expect him to go to the Stanley Cup final? That'd be nice, but you know what? Look at the Edmonton Oilers,
Is it a
and
fail if we
it might
don't
take a
make it
couple
to
of
the
knocks
East?
on the door, right, to get there. So we just got to do better than the first round. We got to, and it's just not only losing; it's the way we lose, right? We
Yeah.
get our big stars get shut down in the playoffs. We can't have that. They've got to be our best players this
Okay.
year.
And you guys are afraid to answer that question, it seems. Gord, do you have an
Oh,
opinion? Is
unlike
it a
unlike
fail?
George and Joe,
Yeah.
there, I'll answer your question
Okay.
by saying if they, uh, and I'll quote Pierre Maguire, if they don't make it to the Stanley Cup final, it is a failed season.
Mhm.
Only because they've brought in players, they've had the experience of losing. And
Seven
not
straight
only have
years.
they not lost, but they've watched that team go on to the final. So I think Florida's not as strong this year. Tampa Bay's not as strong this year. The
Boss.
I will say
Austin.
this: Boston's not as strong this year,
Oh.
and I'll say the only team in their division that got any better was the Ottawa Senators.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was the only team this year that got any better was Ottawa. They built and they built and they built. The new ownership
Yeah.
has decided it's time to take their hands out of their pockets and spend. I do, however, agree with Joe. The fact that we do have the three goaltenders is great, but which Samsonov are we going to see? Are we
Yeah.
going to see the one that we saw at the last year where he was great till he got hurt? Or are we going to see a guy that came in, wants to play? Because if we saw what we did in the game, he was way off. And I mean,
Mhm.
he went right out to lunch and he was buying the lunch
Yeah.
politely. Because, yeah, I mean, I think Wall's great, but can we go to the final with
No.
Jones and Wall if Samsonov goes down? I don't know.
Well,
I
I,
don't
I
think so.
I don't know
But
either, Gord. I'll be honest. I kind of agree. I don't think making it right if we don't make it to the Stanley Cup, it's a fail. But I believe that we're set in a way that we should be winning our first 2 rounds, at least making it to the Final Four. That to me, I would want to see. Okay, we're coming down to our last 7 minutes. Thanks for your answers, guys. This has been a great podcast here today. It's been lots of fun. Actually, Joe and I went down to the Argos and we're part of the media scrum down there. So we felt like royalty, other than the fact that we're running around and trying to get through elevators that didn't work. But and Joe didn't have a media pass, but hey, we got over those slight facts there. And hopefully we can get down and do a Marlies game or another Argo game this year. But okay, this is the end of the show, boys. Now I just want a quick prediction, starting with George. Wednesday's game, Toronto, Montreal. What's the final score?
I say a 4-2. Say 4-2, and Reeves punches out somebody for the last for the last show, for the last game. Uh, with the gritty hits that came on, I think Reeves punches out somebody, and it's a 4-2 win.
Joe?
I love that prediction. Reeves will fight for sure. First game at home, he's going to be amped up.
Yeah.
Listen, I just want to talk about Reeves quick sec. You know, at the end of last season, Austin Matthews went to True Living and said, please get us somebody out there to protect us. You know, say what you want, but you need somebody out there that's in the lineup night in and night out because those guys were getting pushed around, especially in the playoffs. So Ryan Reeves, great pickup, going to be a good fourth liner. It's always a close game, no matter how much I think Toronto, Montreal. It usually goes to overtime. I'm going to say 5-4 Toronto in overtime.
Mr. Gord.
I'm gonna say this. Ryan Reeves' whole statement about what Bozo the Clown did from Florida there to our goalie of saying, let him try that while I'm on the ice. This year, he will get pummeled. And to that, I agree with George and Joe. He will be fighting. I'm going to go 5-2 Toronto. Going to be a rough game, going to be a battle, but Reeves is going to have a fight. Somebody's going to get dropped. Everybody's going to be cheering. Go Leafs.
Now,
Leafs.
my prediction,
Leafs go.
I actually really do hope that Reeves gets a chance to fight, but I'm not sure anyone in Montreal has the cojones to stand up to Mr. Ryan Reeves. Maybe the Pizzulio guy or Josh Anderson. I'm not sure, but that would be fun to see. Now, I predict in front of his father, Mr. Domi is going to score 2 goals. So I know Ty is going to be in the house, and Max is going to be flying. And Ty, straight off of his fun night with Mr. Drake, I'm sure we all seen the pictures of the Drake concert and Ty Domi with Drake himself down on the stage. Now, my end score, I think, in my prediction, Mr. Samsonov has a great game. And with Mr. Domi's 2 goals, I don't know who else is going to score, but it's going to be a 4-1 final. Let's go Leafs. And this has been lots of fun, boys. Thank you so much. Gord, thank you for coming in, even though I announced you as our special guest of the night. So thank you, Gord from downtown Toronto. George, all the way from Calgary, thank you again. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I know the time zone gets you up and you got lots of work, but thank you for being involved here with us today. And Joe, my co-accused co-host from Whistle Radio FM, 102.9 FM, whistleradio.com. Joe, maybe you're right. I can actually say that and lead us in one time at Sports Timeout. Have a great night, guys. Thank you so much.
Have a good
Forward
night,
to
guys.
seeing you all soon. Go Leafs.
Go Leafs, go.